So a lot of people wanted to see the DIY Steam Deck that I've been working on. I had posted on Reddit and a lot of people were interested in it, so I figured I'd show the progress I have at the moment. I'm still waiting on some parts. The first thing is I decided currently, I'm not 100% positive if I want to go with this route yet, but I have Steam Link with the heatsink removed, and I ordered a Nintendo Switch heatsink, which fits on here pretty well. And I have this little 30mm fan plugged in. Right now, everything is able to run off this 3.7 volt battery system. You can see I have the shell up here. If you look at the computer screen up here, so you can see I have the circuit board for the display modeled in, and these joysticks modeled in as well, which come in a kit for this USB breakout board for controllers. I have one connected right now, but I'll be showing a test with this controller just because I don't have everything set up right now. I'm waiting on some parts for the D-pads. I have these Xbox pads which I had modeled in. I'll pull these things out. This was my old design. So I had designed this thing right here. These all fit and go into their unique spots. This was just a test sample. This isn't actually a piece that's going on the handheld. So hold those in place. You can see all the buttons fit. They're in their correct orientation and they're free fitting. They'll be good for the 4 buttons and the D-pad. I have some parts coming in the mail. I'm gonna try using off-the-shelf components rather than anything custom, so that if anyone who's watching this would like to do the same thing once I'm done, I'll be adding the files online for anyone to use. And I'll be showing the parts list for all these different parts. The part that might be a little difficult to obtain is the Steam Link, since Valve discontinued it, but because of how this works, I don't see why someone couldn't use like a Raspberry Pi or even one of these. I don't know if this can run the Steam Link software through Raspberry Pi OS. If it can, someone can always use something like that. Right now, I'm going to go with the Steam Link. If I power it on right now, you should see. I'm going to remove this glare from the screen. So you can see that it's booting up, and once it connects, you should see the Steam dashboard pop up in a few seconds. There you go. Everything is running off this battery pack, as you can see when I flip that switch. Both this powered on, which you can hear that the fan's pretty noisy. The control pad powered on, so you can see that this does work through a USB connection, but right now I'm going to be using this. I'm going to switch over to here, see if I can connect to my PC, which shows it looks like it's connecting, and there we go. We have this running on this system I have built, and this chip is still pretty cold. I tried passively cooling it with one of these, but it got too hot, so I have to use this system. I'm just going to boot up something quick just to show you. I'm going to play Halo. There we go. Don't think, yeah, the volume's not coming through computer speakers, it's coming through this right now, but I don't have any. There are some speaker ports right here. This is a speaker header. I will be directly soldering some to it. We're just gonna go to multiplayer, just make a custom one. This is all running off of battery power, it just needs to be fit inside here, which I'm still working on. Okay, so it's now running a game of Halo. I have this temporarily because I don't have all the controls hooked up to this. You can see this is working. But you can see the latency of this is actually pretty good over Wi-Fi connection. I'm not used to playing on controllers. So I'm looking at the computer screen above and below, as you can see. That's playing right there. And this is playing here, and it's working pretty well. I'm going to power this down now. So it's kind of a demonstration of what I have at the moment, as you can see. I do have ribbon HDMI cable that can just be plugged into the board, and then a ribbon cable comes out to the display so that it can be packed in tighter, so I don't have to have this big cable right here. This is the board I'm using, and you can see on the back it has all the buttons. What I will be doing is removing this daughter board right here, because it technically doesn't need this base mount board. This just makes it easier to connect to. I've already done the pin out testing and figuring out what pin goes to what. Other than that, I think I have shown where I'm at right now. I have some parts coming in for the controls. I'm still looking for something online for the touchpads. The way this is working, I think I can only get it to work with one, but like mimic the other one on here, because the Steam Link does support mouse control. There's this little tiny small Bluetooth keyboard that I thought I might be able to use that on there. Duplicate it, so if you're left-handed or if you want to use the mouse this hand versus this hand, you can do that. But it won't be like the actual Steam Deck where each one's independent. I mean, they still sell these. This is the one I bought back in 2016. Valve did discontinue it 2 years ago, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, but you can still pick them up on eBay for about 50 to 60 bucks. But you might be better off going with like a Raspberry Pi or even a Raspberry Pi Zero if this supports Steam Link. You would have to go with the Raspberry Pi Zero W, which is the wireless. This isn't the wireless version, so I'm not using this because I have this and it works so well. If I just flip this switch again, screen powers on, you can see, and then this will power on. There it goes. That ramps up and you'll see the Steam Link logo, and then it'll boot into the UI, the user interface for Steam Link, as you can see, which works pretty well. And I think because that system is still on, I can just press this button and should pop right back into the game. So yeah, works rather well. I think this is going to be a great project, but until then, I think my next update might be next Monday. Right now, the only parts I have ready to mount is the screen and the 2 joysticks, which I have one right here and one right here. I've already desoldered this header, because I'm just going to solder directly to the board, because that's thickness I don't need. But these 2 will go right here. I have the D-pad, or the buttons right here for that. I will be 3D printing this piece, these buttons, and these buttons. I'll be showing more of that in next week's video. So yeah, if you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get notified whenever I release the next video. Like this video if you want to help out the channel, dislike it if you really didn't like what I'm doing, and leave a comment if you want to ask any questions on what I'm doing. So yeah, see you next time.